Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Corn Productions with my co-host Stacy, and we got special guest star Don Heng. Don has appeared in 31. He has 31 credits, including The Sinner, which is mainly why we're talking here today. And we also have him in Tracker with Justin Hartley. That's the new series, and The Good Doctor. Don, welcome to the channel.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming. So Don, how did you get your start in acting?
Well, I've always done it throughout high school, just doing plays and whatnot. And my first real audition was sent to me by my high school drama teacher. It was an open call for a Nickelodeon movie. And I didn't tell my parents. I took a long transport out of there when I was like 16, 17. It was like an hour transport. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to book this thing and I'm going to surprise my parents and show them that I'm on TV. And I went through the auditions. I got a call back. I met the director, and then I never heard back from them. But that definitely got me going. But I didn't really know how to start it. I finished high school. I started doing poli-sci and history because my parents made me go to university. And 2 years into my program, I just thought, you know what? If I never pursue this, I will always regret it. So then I started looking up local acting schools, and I just attended one of them and found myself an agent and then just never looked back from then on. That was 12, 13 years ago.
Wow, pretty cool. Given all that's come out about Nickelodeon these days, it's a good thing that you did not end up hearing back from them, I guess.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think any sort of experience, especially early on, is good experience. Yeah.
All right. So how'd you become involved with The Sinner?
Um, I actually read for the role of my younger brother first, David, who got the role. And I taped that one and never heard anything back from it, disappointingly so. But then, I don't know, maybe a month later, I got a Zoom call. This was during COVID time, so we didn't do any live auditions anymore. I got a call about reading for the older brother, and then I put that on tape and then got a call back, met the director over Zoom, did a read with him, and then got cast probably a week after that.
So you were already pretty much familiar with the story at this point.
Not at all. That's the
No.
thing. When I read for the younger brother, they're very secretive about things, like very secretive. And so when you get certain scenes, you really have to just guess and be creative with what's going on. Like if I could just share, I remember one of the scenes was um in the audition. It just says that Percy, I show up at Percy's house and Percy doesn't want me to be seen there. And she hops into the car and she's obviously really tired. And we just talk for a bit and there's a kind of emotional connection there. I'm not sure if we kiss. And that was it. And it's just like, what are the undertones of this scene? Why is she upset? Why does she not want my parents to see her? Oh no, why does she not want her dad to see me or her family to see me? And you just kind of gotta build it, right? And I remember my perspective was I'm just gonna play it like I'm having an affair with her behind her husband's back. That's just what I was going with because it gives you no details. You know, you gotta pick something interesting and you gotta go with it. And that's what I went for. So when you eventually get a script, it's completely different than what you think it is. And when you meet with the director, he might give you little hints. You know, he might see your version first and he'll go like, you know what? I see where you're going here, but actually this is what how it's written. Can you play it once that way? Um, so when I got cast, I actually no, I had no idea. Even the audition scenes, I didn't really know what was going on. It was the boat scene, and it was the scene with my brother, where we're sitting on a dock
Mhm.
talking. And I did accurately guesstimate that I was going to get killed, because it says that I get into a fight, and I played in the audition, I played the death. So I got that part right. And then I didn't get the full script until after I was cast. Then they sent me all the episodes, and then I read up on it and realized the whole story after that. Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, do you want to?
Well, one thing specifically I was curious about getting cast in this part is you're based in Vancouver, correct?
Mm. Mhm.
And so this was filmed in Nova Scotia. What was that like? Like casting all the way on the other side of the country?
I was very, very excited. Honestly, I always wanted to visit East Coast Canada. I don't have any friends there. I don't know what to go and see there. And so
Yeah.
to be able to travel there for work was great. I was super, super excited. Um, yeah, it was great. But then the experience there, like I thought I was going to be shooting in Halifax, a bigger town. And then we ended up shooting in Lunenburg, which is like a
Mhm.
small fishing town, like population, I don't know, 1,000 maybe. Um, and it wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't for the fact that it was COVID times. So restaurants were closing at 7, 8 o'clock. There was nothing to do. I tried to rent a car pretty much the moment I got cast because I just thought, you know what, I could drive around to neighboring towns and visit different towns and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there was no hotels in that place. We stayed in a bed and breakfast, like super old, 300-year-old house.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to say it was a bad experience. It was certainly wasn't. It was just that there were a lot of down days where I was just bored out of my mind because of the whole COVID situation.
So you only appeared in the final episode of season 4.
Mhm.
Uh, you had only a few scenes to create a relationship with your parents, create a relationship with your brother, and have it be a character that we cared about, and so we can feel this tragedy. Was that a
Mhm.
challenge as an actor?
Yes, it is a challenge. It's also very interesting though because I felt like I was very popular the moment I stepped on set, and in the sense that everyone was so excited to meet me because my part is comparably small with the main cast, and everybody had an idea of what they built in their minds of how they connected with my character, and so everybody was excited to meet who this real person is and how it lines up with who they imagined Bo to be. So yeah, that's kind of related to your question. For me, it wasn't as tough because I only had a couple scenes, and I have a brother who I'm really close with, and it's very easy for me to just make that switch like that. But it can definitely be a challenge, and I would say that it's definitely more of a challenge for all the other actors who have had to perceive what they thought their relationship with me is like, and whether when they met me, I would bring that persona.
So
Mhm.
you're saying that basically it's more of a challenge for them than it was for you?
Probably, yeah. Or maybe not even challenge, just an interesting perspective. Like every single person works, but they probably don't share their notes of how they view me, but everybody has a relationship with this character. Whether it's the Muldoons, any of the Muldoons, or any of my family members, or even Bill Pullman. Yeah, he's the first guy I met, one of the first guys I met, and he came up to me and shook my hand, and I'm like, dude, I wanted to shake your hand because you're Bill Pullman. And he
Right.
just thought,
Yeah.
man, he literally said to me, he said, I am so, so excited to finally meet you because, everyone just wants to see what you're like in real life. So that's what I mean when I say that I felt popular. I'm like, wow, everyone's so interested in meeting me.
That's funny because you don't even have any scenes with Bill Pullman.
No, we were on set just once. And that's the scene where, mm, one of the last scenes, where he's piecing everything together, and he looks at the cliff where Percy jumped, and then Percy has looked back and saw me. So that was the only scene we were on set together. Um, yeah. Mhm.
What was he like?
Oh, so nice, such a nice guy. Um, Probably not probably, definitely top three nicest celebrity people I've ever worked with. Just a warm human being.
Is there anybody, and I guess you sort of answered this question already, but is there anybody you particularly liked working with on the set that day or
Week or
week
how
or
long
yeah,
were
how
you on
long were you
set?
on set?
How long was I on set? I was in Nova Scotia for about 18 days and I only shot
Wow.
5 days.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. I had 13 days of downtime where I was just sitting in this 300-year-old house. I did get to room with my brother though, David. So we got along pretty well. We hung out most days. Yeah. Sorry, what was your question? I don't think I answered it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Basically, who did you like? Well, was there anybody in particular that you like working with?
Oh yeah. I really like working with Neil Huff. And gosh, I can't remember the actor's name, but who plays his brother?
Uh,
Um,
Michael
Michael
Mosley.
Mosley.
Yeah, Michael Mosley. I enjoy talking with him just because I've seen him in things before. And Michael Mosley, I had just recently watched him in Ozarks.
Yes.
And just, obviously working opposite them, it was in such an intense scene. It was really fun. That boat scene was probably the most memorable moment of the entire shoot for me. We spent like 12 hours on the boat up until like 3 a.m. shooting that scene. So yeah, I have fond memories of shooting that one. Um, yeah.
You have any memories of that scene? That any anecdotes about shooting that scene?
Off the top of my head, hey.
What
Yeah,
was
I
it like
remember.
to like play dead? Like
Oh
do
yeah,
your death?
see, that's not that fun. Um, I will say Neil Huff, he is so strong. He actually is really strong. I cannot believe he actually muscled me around. Like I'm not a light human being. I'm probably 180 pounds, and so he was pretty darn near picking me up. And yeah, it was me playing all the dead bodies, and it was boring. All I do is close my eyes, and I mean the scene where my mom breaks out and cries, that was heartbreaking for me. Um, to lay there on the table and not react to it. Just hearing the sound of her voice and like the pain in her voice, I could really, really feel that. That sticks in my memory. And the actress who played her, Cindy, she's such a lovely person too. I was expecting my first child as I was shooting this scene, and she took down my contact and everything, and she sent my kid presents, like
Aw.
even after he was born and stuff. And we mildly keep in touch. So it's yeah, made some great relationships in that project.
That's cool. So, who would you say is the most responsible for your character's death?
That's really hard to say, really. Percy, obviously, because she pulled the trigger, but also if you put yourself in her position, I would have done the same thing probably. I mean, I was wailing on her dad, and it looks like he was taking a beating. It wasn't just like a fight. At that point, it wasn't self-defense on her behalf, but it was defense of her dad. So as much as it was definitely her fault that I died, I couldn't say that I blame her. Um, Probably Michael Mosley's character. I'd say that he's the one who is least traumatized by it, the one who doesn't regret it at all, the one who was really poking the bear. Um, Neil's character, uh, it's kind of established in the script that me and him had a decent relationship at some point, and you can tell that he had been living under the shadow of his younger brother, and he wanted to show that he was worth something. And so, yeah, if I had to pin it on someone, I'd say he was the guy. He's the asshole. Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that.
Yeah, we're past the 30-second mark, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that you basically just answered my question on that because I was going to suggest that you could make the argument, legally speaking, that Percy was perhaps self-defense, but I don't even think you can make that argument really because she could have done something else besides pull the trigger. She could have taken the gun and hit you over the head with it. But it was definitely an accident that the gun went off. That's how it was played anyway. So you could say involuntary manslaughter, which is 1 to 10 years. I looked that up before the interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you buy any of that?
You know what? I'm going to argue with you there. I'm going to say
Okay.
that she probably would get off the hook because, I had elbowed her other brother in the nose. She's a girl. She doesn't know what's going to happen. Like if she gets in close contact with me and she has a gun, and I just disarm her, then I can potentially cut anyone. And obviously, it's so hard to make a decision like that. I think in real time, I don't blame her at
Absolutely.
all. I don't blame her at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we've talked about the different people you've worked with. What about Alice? How was working with her? So I think she's one of the reasons we're covering this show.
Yeah.
We talk about Alice. One of the shows that we cover primarily is Quantum Leap, and she appears in that series. So what was it like
Does she?
working with
Wow.
her?
Okay. That's funny. Nice. I auditioned for the pilot of the main character.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know that show actually. I know that her partner's on that show.
Yes.
I didn't know that she was in the show.
She
Huh.
she has a recurring part. Yeah, she was in 5 or 6 episodes.
Something like that. I thought it
Oh,
was
cool.
She was only in 1 episode of season 1, but two of season 2. Anyway, so you're saying you auditioned for Ben Song?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, we want to hear more about that.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
What was the
process.
audition script like for that? Because that's our meat and potatoes here.
It was fun. Honestly, it was very, very fun. I really, really liked the project, and I just thought this is so cool because you get to. I didn't know how they're gonna shoot it though. I was in my mind, I was like, are they getting a new actor for each series? And because he plays different characters, right? I haven't really watched the show apart from the first episode, so I don't really know. But I'm assuming you see the main actor in each role, but then he's playing a different character, so characters inside that world see him as a different face, right?
Yeah, right. So they have what they call a mirror image. So when he looks in the mirror, he sees the person he's leapt into, but we see, the main actor throughout.
Yeah, that was a really fun audition. I think it was a very long audition. I think my tape literally was probably pushing 9-10 minutes.
Wow.
And the first scene was me waking up opposite who is presumably my wife, I think, or a friend or something, and then I'm discovering what's going on. And it was I don't remember the first episode. Was it an earthquake scene? Like earthquake happened.
The original pilot was an earthquake. Yeah, they ended up not airing that until episode 6. They used that footage because the network had them rearrange things a little bit. But yeah, that was the original pilot, earthquake.
Yeah. So that was the audition scene. And then the second one was me I think I was looking for my daughter or something, I want to say, and I walk inside a room and I'm sorry, I can't really remember. And it was, I just remember there was an earthquake happening, and I was discovering, and I'm in the bar and I see on the TV that there's a certain game that I've watched before, so I recognize it.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple scenes of me running through the city trying to look for my daughter, I think. Was it daughter? I think you guys know the show, but
it was a son in the episode. It could have been a daughter in the.
Yeah, I mean, the initial script might have been different than what actually aired, but
yeah,
that's so interesting. If you're curious to see how it played out, it ended up being episode 6 of the series.
I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, because I only watched the first episode, and I was like, that's not what I read for in the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was working with Alice? I think Alice is great. I think Alice is such an incredibly strong actress, and when she pulls the trigger on me. When it's her close up, I no longer had to act, right? I was on the side, and I was watching the cameras the whole time, and I just thought her facial expression of all the thoughts she was going through in her mind, and her mind just turning. I just thought, wow, she does a terrific job. And someone had said, like, man, she might get nominated for an Emmy for here, and all I could think was, yeah.
Well, this might be a good time to bring this up. The Reddit thread where I initially found you. Basically, I had looked up I was looking for reviews on what people thought of the finale, and I happened to see the conversation that you were involved with, and it was brought Asian representation in media was brought up, and it was mentioned that it needs to be more of a thing. There needs to be more Asian representation. Do you think that's a situation that has improved?
1000%. When I first started in acting 12, 13 years ago, all I was reading for were 1-2-liners, gangsters, doctors, nerdy guys. Literally, that's what they titled them. Now,
I saw one of those credits. It was math nerd was one of your credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, that's absolutely changed. And these days, honestly, it catches me by surprise where I would see a script and they would tell me to read for like a lead role or a recurring guest star role. And I would just think, nah, they're not going to go Asian with this one. And then I don't get the part. I'm like, I bet you they didn't go Asian. And then they cast an Asian. That Quantum Leap was one of those where I was like, I cannot believe they actually cast an Asian in a predominantly Caucasian kind of like, apart from the main actor, everyone else is, mostly Caucasian. I just thought, wow, that's a huge win. That's huge. And it's like a reboot of a 70s, 80s show that was a white actor. So I just think that's phenomenal. And, last year I did a Hallmark movie that I played one of the love interests of a Caucasian girl. And I just thought, again, that's very cool. I've seen this change happen over the course of my career 12, 13 years ago. Didn't think that would happen so quick. Very, very proud and happy to be part of it. And just hope to see it keep coming because with that being said, we do have less opportunities still. And these moments that I talk about is still few and far between. But it's happening. So yeah, absolutely it's changed and is changing constantly.
Yeah, we've been in communication with a representative from, I want to say it right, the Media Action Network for Asian Americans, and they've been petitioning to NBC to try and save Quantum Leap. And unfortunately,
is it on the chopping block?
yeah, it's been canceled, unfortunately,
I
after
didn't know
two
that. Darn.
seasons.
Oh,
Sad times around here, but of course, all of us in the fandom have been, trying to hashtag save Quantum Leap as well. But that organization has been, really pushing, writing letters to NBC about how important it is, like you said, that there's an Asian lead character and just how great that is.
yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
Honestly, like
unfortunately, the show is just really expensive to produce, I think, is what it comes down to.
yeah. I did a TV show called Kung Fu, CW show that's all Asian cast pretty much. And while shows like that are great, I think it speaks volumes compared to a show like Quantum Leap. You know, it has such a wide audience, and again, it's like the main lead is Asian, and it's surrounded by a Caucasian predominantly cast, and I think that's different than doing a show called Kung Fu where
Right.
everyone's Asian. You know, so that's sad to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they can be picked up by a different network or something. Hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of CW, I think you have a lot of CW credits. I've got your credits list here in front of me. 3 pages. You've got impressive list here of things you've been involved in. But yeah, I think several of these are CW.
Yeah, I definitely worked for CW, probably more than any other network. Yeah.
Yeah. CW, of course, is the network in the US that's airing Sullivan's Crossing, another series that we cover. That has Reed Price in it. Reed Price was also in your episode of The Sinner. I don't know if you got to meet him. I don't think you shared a scene with him.
Who does he play?
He played Detective Brooks.
Oh, okay. No, I never met him.
No, he's great. We've had him on our show multiple times, and we've kind of been following his career a little bit. So it's one of between Alice and him are the reasons we ended up covering The Sinner.
Cool. Yeah. You never watched the original ones? Like the first couple seasons you didn't watch
Oh, we did.
We had watched them already, but we haven't covered them on the podcast.
Gotcha.
We're covering this season specifically as it's filmed in Nova Scotia, and we ended up somehow strangely very involved in Nova Scotia television.
Oh, really?
Probably because of Reed Price. And
right.
And there's just so many actors that have appeared in this season of television that are in other shows that we cover that were filmed in Nova Scotia. We cover From, I don't know if you've heard of that on MGM Plus, and like I mentioned, Sullivan's Crossing. And it just seems like they have such a great acting community where you have these same people just pop up in everything, everything that's filmed there. And it looks like beautiful region. I definitely want to visit there sometime.
It's so beautiful. That's a sad thing about my experience there, was that it's so beautiful, but I had so little chance to explore things because of COVID.
Well, you have to go back and do something else there.
I know.
One thing from CW I wanted to bring up is the 100. Now I know you had a very small part in that, but I did go back and review that scene. Did you get to meet Eliza Taylor, the lead actress in that show?
Yeah, she was actually on set, because it's her memory, right?
Right. Well, it was the other girl. It was the girl inside her head's memory. Yes. So yeah, her.
Yeah.
And I reviewed that episode, and I was like, wow, this is that part of that series where things are like really complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically you played a flashback memory of a character played by a different actor who was possessing your body at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit quantum leapy there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry to spring that on you. I know we didn't prepare you to talk about that experience, but so you did get to meet Eliza Taylor?
Yeah, I just met her briefly.
Yeah.
What I take away from that day on set is that's the kind of day where on set you're like, wow, it is so weird to be an actor. I had one day on that show,
right,
and it was like you have to try and build this intimate relationship with someone, not just mentally but also physically. Like I literally met the girl who played the love interest opposite me, and within like an hour we had to kiss multiple times, and you had to make it seem like it's like a longing one, or you guys have a deep relationship. because obviously your relationship goes back like hundreds of years. So yeah, it's so interesting, days like that make me think, wow, it is so weird to be an actor. And people ask me like, oh, is it fun to kiss other girls and stuff? And my wife makes comments sometimes, and I'm just like, it's weird. It's very, very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say it's fun. Not that it was unpleasant or anything, but then it's just a very weird profession in that regard.
Yeah. And I
That's
imagine it's
that's
hard to come into a story like that also, where you're just in this one little moment of someone's life
yeah,
without having like those intimate details of the rest of the series, right?
for sure, because I didn't watch the show either. And
Right.
so I had to really play catch up and then just really try and build something out of nothing in such a short time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's like one day on set. So yeah, there's definitely challenges to that as opposed to having time to build character and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
The reason I brought that one up specifically is because Eliza Taylor is also a star of Quantum Leap. So
I did
she's
not
on
know
our
that either.
she was a recurring character in season 2.
Hmm.
And I loved her character.
Yeah,
I loved
she was fun.
her. Yeah.
So you also guest starred on The Good Doctor. I believe you were a father in that episode of a baby who had heart problems. So you shared several scenes with Freddie Highmore, and I was kind of
Mhm.
curious what it was like to work with him.
Oh, it's awesome. He filmed a show called Bates Motel in Vancouver as well, and I
Yeah.
auditioned for that a lot earlier on in my career. And I loved the show. Loved the show. I thought he was such a tremendous actor at such a young age. Watched the show throughout this whole season and just thought I would love to work with this guy one day. And then Good Doctor is also filmed in Vancouver. Now they're wrapping up their 7th year. And yeah, I mean, I have also auditioned for Good Doctor throughout the whole 7 years and just never gone on it. So I'm very happy to have gotten on it at its last season. And working with him was great because you have people who like are like method actors or whatever, and they're not friendly, but he just clicks in and out. He's friendly, and then once he's rolling, he just gets into his character and doesn't look you in the eye, and he's talking, and it just yeah. I mean, I've never really had a role where I could try and implement any of that, and so it's just very interesting and impressive to watch him work. Um, yeah, really nice dude, really really nice guy, and tremendous actor.
Did you get a chance to meet Richard Schiff, who plays Dr. Glassman? I know you didn't share any scenes with him, but did you
I
meet him?
didn't. No,
No.
no, I didn't. I didn't see him on set at all. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his from The West Wing back when he
Mhm.
was on that series. So I was
Yeah.
curious.
Do you ever get starstruck when you go on set and like just start meeting all of these different actors?
100%. The worst one that impacted my work a lot, and I really regret, is I was in a movie called The Art of Racing in the Rain,
Yes.
with Milo Ventimiglia.
We were gonna bring that up.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're also big This Is Us fans here. And I
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
have this right in front of me.
Yeah.
um,
So This Is Us. When I booked that role, my wife and I were in deep in that show, and my wife like was crushing on him. My cousin was crushing on him. Like people were crushing on this guy, and I thought he was, I was so happy. The main reason why I was so excited to work on the show was because he was in it, and yeah, I definitely remember being nervous meeting him. And the worst part is that my character, if you've seen the movie, is supposed to be like a really rich snob, douchey, really sure of himself, and I couldn't bring that energy to the character on set because I was almost like concerned with how he would perceive me. It's really odd. And honestly, like if I ever have the chance to meet the director, I would apologize to him because I remember being on set, him trying to like he didn't know how to direct me into what he wanted, but he just kept wanting me to do something different, like be more confident. And I just couldn't bring it. And I do remember one time talking to Milo actually. I did a scene with him and then I just went, oh, man, I feel like such an asshole. And he just looked at me and he went, hey, dude, it's okay. Dude, I played plenty of assholes. I was an asshole in Gilmore Girls. I was an asshole in this. Like, just play it. Just it's cool, man. Just do it. You know. But yeah, I don't know. In that mindset, I feel like it wasn't too long ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago. But I still feel like I was a pretty young actor back then, with a mentality of like, oh, how are people going to perceive me? You know. Yeah, it wasn't a good feeling to have, and I actually really, really don't like thinking about that project because I have so many regrets about it. I just feel like I now understand kind of separating yourself from it and just playing the character. And I just wish I could have another go at it, you know? Yeah, but that's
So
the one that sticks out the most. And then working with Justin Hartley literally a few months ago,
Yeah.
I didn't have that feeling anymore. You know, obviously I was really excited to meet him, and work with him. But I didn't have that starstruck like, oh, I can't do anything anymore. You know, and it's funny, right? Because about 6 months before I booked the role, I actually had met him at a bar because I was bartending and I had poured him a beer. So I brought that up when I met him too,
Cool.
actually. Yeah.
did he
I don't
remember
think he
you?
remembered, but
No, no.
I did say, hey, you know, I poured you a beer like 6 months ago, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I told him, you were an asshole just for shits. Like he wasn't, but I just said that. And all he said to me was like, yeah, I'm sure I was. And he was the nicest guy. But the way he said it was like, he was so sure of himself that he was never an asshole to anybody. And I believe that because, you know, he's such a nice guy too.
Well, yeah, that was one of my questions because Justin Hartley has come up with numerous times on our channel.
Yeah.
We covered.
Also on a Quantum Leap episode.
Yes, he also guest starred in a Quantum Leap episode.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have some homework to go watch Quantum Leap.
Yeah, I should. I definitely want to check out episode 6, and then I'm gonna look up Justin Hartley's episode.
He
too.
was in episode 4.
2 episodes
great.
before that
Thank you.
episode.
Wow. Yeah. So I feel like we're just talking so much about all the people you've worked with, but it's just so interesting to hear these stories about all of these people.
Yeah.
Do any of the projects that you've worked on stand out to you as like being particularly like a fun shoot? Like what's something you've really enjoyed doing in your career?
I think I definitely have an answer for this, but I need to look at what I've worked up to remind myself. You know, I feel like every project I've done has had something that was fun about
Sure.
it. Whether it's like my first time playing a cop or something, which is something I wanted to be when I was younger. You know, that's fun for its own purposes. Let me just try and think about this. Anytime I get to travel anywhere for work is always fun because you get to check out new cities and stuff. But the shoot itself, hey,
Or just
gosh,
anything
I'm trying.
that stands out to you as
I think I definitely
something
have
to
the
share.
answer. Oh, I know. The Flash. The Flash. I did a guest star spot on The Flash where I was pretty much a damsel in distress. Like the Flash saves me like 3 or 4 times throughout the episode. First he dismantles a bomb, like some guy, the villain's going after me. He sends a bomb and explodes, and he goes Flash real time, and all the shrapnel's like coming out towards me. And then he comes and he picks up all the shrapnel. And then the second scene is, or maybe the first scene that he saves me in was the most fun one. They put me in a Tesla, and I had to like pretend that the car was out of control, and uh the villain has made it so that a car can't stop, and he's going in like super high speed, and so the Flash decides to grab a wrench and he dismantles the entire car in order to stop the car. And in order to achieve that kind of look, they put me on essentially like a go-kart kind of situation and had a pulley pull me from the opposite end like 50 meters away, and they lit like firecrackers underneath the seat to create sparks, but they really yanked me, and that was fun. That was
So you did all your
thrilling,
own
fun,
stunts.
and huh?
All your own stunts.
You know what? I honestly though, like the first take that we did, there was, because he's dismantling everything, they put like car parts along the way as they pull me towards it. And the first take we did, I'm not kidding, they pulled me really fast and it hit something, and I like kind of tilted, and I just thought, holy smokes, like I can't believe they're actually letting me do this, because you know it's a big issue if I get injured.
Right.
But that was one of the most fun days, and it was unexpected too, because I didn't know how they were going to achieve it until the day we showed up, and then they just had this rig and they just pulled me back over and over again. So that sticks out as a fun day.
So you mentioned a project that you were kind of disappointed in your work in. Is there anything that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, there is, but it's very few. It's funny. No, it's funny. You know, doing this for 13 years and you say something like 30, 31 credits, I think I can think about 3 projects where for the most part I would watch today and think I did a pretty good job on it. You know, would there be little tweaks and things I did? I would change, yeah, but it's also not my choice to choose the takes that the director chooses or the editor
Right.
chooses. But I would say 3 out of 30 are projects that I was proud of my own performances. Tracker is one. Kung Fu is one, and then the latest one is it's a movie I did that's actually coming out this Friday. And it's yeah, it's called Sight. All
There we
right. There you go.
So do you have any other questions?
We should circle back around to the Sinner a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Oh
we
yeah,
started
we should.
talking
Sorry.
about, but
Yeah, go ahead.
oh no, this is
No,
great.
we did it on purpose.
Yeah.
We're all placed on purpose.
We like to cover, you know, well, that's why we're here, to talk to you. So yeah, a lot of the scenes that you were in were, I know we talked about this a little bit, but you were not alive for.
Yeah.
So you said you filmed for 5 days. How much of that was you just laying on a table?
I did one day on the boat. I did one day talking to my brother on the dock. One day, maybe on the same day, I was doing some of those flashback scenes where you see me and my dad like fishing and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I spent 2 days as a dead body, and I think they brought me back for a third day because they missed one particular shot as I was on the table. So I think I was on set for 6 days actually. Yeah, I was on set for 5 days, and I thought I was done. So I went to Halifax to meet my wife, who was coming out for a baby moon, and then they said, "No, we need you for one more day." So I went back to Lunenburg, and literally stepped on set, made my body all dead, sat on like laid on the table. They did like a 10-second shoot, and then I was done. So technically 3 days, but 2 full days as a dead body.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sitting still.
Yeah, it is. It's not the most fun thing to do, but yeah, I mean, you just kind of close your eyes and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try and take a nap or something.
So you just listen to the scene playing out around you.
That's really all you can do. And it wasn't fun being dragged out of a boat and stuff too, because it was so wet and stuff, and they were literally throwing me on, like, you know, they try and ask, they're like, do you mind? Like, we could put this cushion down or whatever. I'm like, no, just throw me where you want. And yeah, it was a wet day, wet night.
How exactly did they go about filming that scene?
In what regard?
Like, did they just shoot it like near a sound stage, or did they actually go out onto the a body of water to film it? Or
yeah, on the water. Yeah. The boat scene, we literally took a boat out. We were on the boat, and they took the boat out and shot it. Well, actually, they shot most of the action scenes as it was tied to the dock, and then there were scenes where they're taking me out, and you know, my character's like, oh no, what's going on? You know, he senses something is going on, and we actually took a boat out. Yeah.
Wow. I had a question follow up on that and I lost it. Boat. Oh, so is this the only time you've played a dead body, or have you had other experiences that were similar? Or the only death
I
scene
have
you've
one
done?
other one. Supernatural, I get killed. But they just basically had me lie on the floor, and then they put a pool of blood next to me, and then it was just a picture because it shows a picture of the fact that I died. I think I've died other times, haven't I? Huh. I have died other times, yeah. No, on the show called Ghost Wars, I drive off a bridge, and then I come back as a ghost. That doesn't count as a dead body. Yeah, maybe those are only 2 times.
Similar to Percy's experiences in this season.
Yeah.
She has a lot of I'm not really here scenes.
Yeah.
So how do you approach playing a character like that?
Percy's character?
You're not really there type scenes.
Are you referring to me saying that I played a ghost in Ghost Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I haven't had that experience, so I couldn't really tell you. I basically die in the pilot episode at the end, and then at the start of the second episode, one of the guys who can see ghosts sees my kind of body just there, like snarling, and that was it. So gotcha. Yeah, I didn't have the same experience as Percy, or Alice went through, so I couldn't tell you.
Are there any types of roles that you are hoping to play, like anything in particular in your head that you want to do that you haven't had the opportunity to do yet in your career?
It's constantly changing. I grew up wanting to be like an action hero cop kind of situation thing, and then like a kind of action star, like martial arts kind of thing. Um, I actually got really close to playing Bruce Lee in a biopic once.
Oh wow.
And that's a dream role for me. I think that was a dream role, not because of the martial arts stuff, but because I think I really like playing real life people because I think that's where I got to say, this is not the best thing for me to say as an actor because I don't feel like I'm the most creative person. I can make creative decisions, but not really mannerisms and stuff. But I can what I like to do is emulate what someone is like and try and go behind like see the way they talk and kind of analyze what made them talk that way and why is it they talk that way. So playing real life people is interesting to me. And the speaking of which, the Bruce Lee movie that I talked about, at the time when I had auditioned for it, it was really a movie that removed a lot of the martial arts from it. It was more so Bruce Lee before he was Bruce Lee and why he was so confident. How did he have this persona? You know, it was his life pretty much around I think 15 to 19 years old. So before he was a star. And I thought that was so interesting, you know, to really because what do you see on Bruce Lee? What do you see on screen in the 5 movies he's ever done? He is the most charismatic human being ever. At a time where Asians were looked down upon and would not be cast in anything, much less leads, he was so confident, and it was very interesting for me to think about why, you know, where did he develop this kind of confidence from? Those are the kind of projects that I think that really draw me. Which, by the way, that project, I got close to it. It's dead in the water now for a couple of years, and then 6 months ago, it got announced that Ang Lee has brought it back to life and has is directing a biopic, and his son got cast as Bruce Lee. So that's a film I'm very, very much looking forward to.
Well,
Do you have any other questions that you
I
think of?
think we covered everything.
Oh, I did have one more.
Sure.
Yeah. Is there any kind of role, or I'm sorry, not role. Is there something else you would like to do? Like, would you like to try your hand at directing or anything like along those lines, or you just want to be an actor?
For the most part, I just want to be an actor. I can see the interest of directing, but in its super, super early stages. And the only reason why I say that is because I work with some younger actors now, or I give advice to people who are just starting up. And when I direct them in a tape and whatnot, I do feel a certain fulfillment when I get something that I want out of them. So that fulfills me in an artistic way as well. But the filmmaking side of it, I got to say, I'm not very knowledged in. So if I ever go down that road, it's not going to be for a very long time. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you told us you have a movie coming out, or that is out by the time this airs. You said it's called Sight.
Sight. Yeah.
Is there anything else you have coming up, or anything you're hoping to get?
I did a very small part in Tron 3.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as an engineer. You probably it was very small. It was like 2 lines. So I don't know if it might get cut. So I don't yeah. It's just it was cool to be on the set. The set was huge. Yeah.
So you got a chance to do some sci-fi?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I've been in a number of sci-fi things. The sci-fi world is also really interesting. You know, I kind of wanted to go get into sci-fi for different reasons. I think conventions are super cool. I would love to travel around and do certain conventions and stuff. So I think that kind of world excites me a little bit. But I didn't really grow up as like a major Trekkie or Star Wars fan. I only liked Star Wars because my dad liked it, but I'm not caught up with all the spin-offs these days.
A lot of them.
The Marvel world is something I used to always like. That was a kind of a dream role too. I also auditioned for Shang-Chi when that first came was going around. And so that was a world I deeply wanted to get into. Yeah, I mean, recently they announced that they're really going to try and go back to quality over quantity, which I'm excited about because I'm such a huge Marvel fan, but in the last couple of years they've really lost me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all we got.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been a lot of fun hearing about the auditioning, and it was so fun to hear that you had a link to Quantum Leap like that too. We didn't know that.
Nope.
Yeah.
That was news to us.
Yeah. Yeah, super happy to talk about this stuff. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in more projects in the future.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Yeah. Good luck.
Oh, that was our conversation with Donald Heng.
Yeah, that was some great stuff. He was really fun to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's
down to earth.
again, he has a really big credit list. So if you're not familiar with him before watching this, if you're only watching because of The Sinner or because you follow us, definitely go check out his IMDb. Lots of amazing credits, and I'm very confident we're going to see lots more of him in the future.
Absolutely. Talented guy.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else to say?
Nope. Thank you all for hanging out this season while we talked about The Sinner, and we have lots of great other projects we're going to be talking about in the future.
Yep. So stay tuned. All right, Stacy, can you reach that?
I can reach on Twitter, X, Instagram, and Threads at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Core Productions on Twitter. You can join one of my Core Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Core Production membership for 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video as well as subscribing to our channel. This is Dave and Stacy from Core Productions signing off.